Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera. George is running a little bit late, but today we're going to be talking to the publisher of A Kid and a Comic, a groundbreaking comic strip newspaper. You're going to want to hear this. It's going to be a fantastic interview. So without further ado, let's get it.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I'm supposed to be with George the Dreamer Medina, but he's running late. So, anyways, what's up, everybody? I'm glad to be back. I know we've been out last week, but I've been traveling a lot for work and also with conventions. So I'm excited to be back. Today we have a chock full night. If George, I'll know soon if he's coming on. If he doesn't come on in the next few minutes, we will bypass the Get Your Meds segment and go straight into the interview. So we'll play it by ear. But we're going to be talking to the publisher, John, behind A Kid in a Comic. And here is a copy of A Kid in a Comic. It's groundbreaking. It's fantastic. There's about 30 creators or more in this newspaper that's available at kidinthecomic.com. Duty is in it. Duty is in it. I'm telling you, Duty is in it. So I want to say shout out to some of you out there who already subscribed to A Kid in the Comic for your copies. They delivered seven times a year. So this is fantastic. I'm excited about this. We'll talk more about this and why. John, I'm hoping I don't destroy the last name. It's Canacry. I think that's what it is. We're just infamous. Is that a Canacry or Canacry? He'll let us know. But if you've been on Catch the Craze, we murder last names. So that's just not our forte. What's up, ASAP in the house? ASAP Imagination in the house. What's up, Creators Outlet? So I'm excited about that. So what's been happening? If you haven't done so already, and you're new to Catch the Craze, and you're hearing us on Spotify or Pandora, or you're new to YouTube, and you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel, because when we grow, the indie community grows, and that's the reason why we created this channel. Yes, we'll be bringing you in soon. And what's up, Lou? Lou is in the house. What's up? Just waiting on. I know that George got a new laptop, so. If you know from his Kickstarter launch, he's not really technically savvy. So we're trying to get him back onto the show so we can get this going. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't checked out the latest episode on the Art of Samuel, my art channel on YouTube, the latest episode is the rejection letter that changed my life and why I needed it. So, if you're a comic book creator, comic artist, you've probably done a lot of submissions, and you've probably received a rejection or two, or like me, a couple hundred, right? So, but there was this one rejection letter. That's right. That technically challenged. We're in 2000. I don't know where we are. We're way past AI, and he's having technical difficulties. So, so there was this one, if you watched that episode, this one rejection letter that really changed everything for me, my perspective on where I need to go with my creative process. So check out that episode. It's the rejection letter, the most important one that I received of the hundreds. And that was pretty exciting. Coming up the pike in August, I will be at the Denton Comic Art Expo. I'll be there. It's a one-day show, and it's a fantastic show. So if you're in Texas and you're going to be in the Denton area, come down and see me. I'll be there signing. I see George has just popped in, and there he goes.
Yeah, ¿qué
You need to hire
pasó?
you need to hire IT people for for yourself, bro.
Yeah, no, I don't have a new laptop yet. My laptop is
Okay.
coming. There's the old
Uh,
one. This is the problem. It's the old one. All right, but go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah,
You were in
yeah.
the middle of your spiel. Carry on. We'll talk about
Yeah,
this in a
just
little bit.
witness protection. Yeah, yes. And so then we'll be doing a book signing at Collected Comics as well in August. And then in September, I'll be at College Station Comic Con. And then potentially might be booking something for August and for November. I'm working. The problem is it's hard for me to book in advance with work because there's a lot of travel with my job. And sometimes the travel comes last minute and it just throws a wrench in my system. So as far as events, that's what's going on with the Kickstarter. Sent out for the proofs, waiting for the proofs. Received the payment last week. Sent out to get the proofs done. So it'll take about 14 days before I see the proofs. If everyone should be getting their rewards by late June, early July. Because after I approve the proof, then it's another 14 days before they ship it to me. And it takes me 48 hours to get everything packed and shipped to everybody out there. What's up, Aurelius in the house? So yeah, so that's what's going on that front. What's happening with you, George?
Ooh, okay. Well, what's happening with me? So my computer is dead. My laptop. I've had this laptop since 2015, bro. 2015. I got this laptop. It's finally done. The battery is dead, so it has to stay charged all the time. So if I tap the charge button, it's over. It just crashes. This is what I did just a few minutes ago. I'm getting my headphones on, and as I tapped the little plug, it went blank, and I was like, so I had to restart the whole thing again. So I ordered a new one this weekend, but it doesn't come until for a couple of weeks. So I'm gonna have to make do with what I got right now. But Max, yo, it does, right? I just noticed that thing. I'm watching myself on the other one. I'm like, you remember Max Headroom?
No.
You don't remember? Yes, you do remember Max Headroom.
No.
You just don't know the name. Remember that guy that used to glitch all the time? He was in the Pepsi commercials. Yeah, you don't remember Max Headroom?
No.
Okay, you ever seen Back to the Future Part 2? Of course you have.
I saw it once, but I don't remember everything verbatim.
You've seen Back to the Future Part 2 once?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm not a fanatic like you, bro.
Oh my!
I've seen Lord of the Rings 100 times. You don't like Lord of the Rings. I would say the same thing to you.
Hold on. Do you remember the scene where he goes into the Cafe 80s, where he goes to see where he meets up his son from the future, when he gets into the future?
It's partially vague.
No? Wow.
It's vague. I haven't seen it in a minute.
Damn, dog.
It's on my list of things from back in the days to watch again, but I haven't got that far.
Wow. Damn.
Sorry.
Oh, snap. Anyway, no. So there aren't any. I don't have any conventions. I did go to the Cradle Con a couple of weeks ago because we haven't been on the air for a little bit, and that was a lot of fun. It wasn't. I thought it was going to be as good as ZoloCon when we did ZoloCon.
Nothing's as good as ZoloCon.
And it wasn't as good, bro. It wasn't as good. I don't know if it's Long Island. I don't know what it is.
Long Island, just good, conventions. Bro. Sorry, you East Coasters out there, but I've done a few in Long Island, and they're just not that kind of. It's not worth it for me as a creator to do any shows in Long Island. It's a hike, number one, and for people to go there, you have to drive. And it's hard to get there. Oh, I recognize him. Yeah,
that's Max Headroom.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah. So, but yeah, there's nothing like ZoloCon. Nothing like ZoloCon. The ZoloCon, you know what? The ZoloCon has that old school collectors feel to it, right? It's like family-owned businesses, local artists and creators, and it's just this feeling that you don't get when you go to the big shows. The big shows are very commercial, where ZoloCon just nails it on just a nostalgic. I mean, then the big jumbotrons, the big screens, they're playing old commercials. They're playing Godzilla from the old Godzilla, the old He-Man commercials. I mean, they just get it, and they treat you right.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I definitely want to meet Paul. We definitely got to do this in person, brother.
Yeah, Paulie G in the house. Paulie, he's on a mission doing book signings at LCS. He has a big lineup for the rest of the year. So shout out
That's
to
good.
Paul out there. Yeah, we're gonna be meeting up soon. And yes, Paul's in the house. I think he and I are gonna be doing Denton. So we'll be seeing each other in August. Actually, we'll be seeing each other 2 weeks in August. So that'd be dope. Yes, I'm excited about that. But he's doing big things as well.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. I mean, we have a really good segment today, and it's a follow up from the last segment.
Yeah.
I think it's about that time. I think it's about that time.
Let's
Let's
do
do
it. Let's do it.
get it.
It's time for your medicine.
What should you expect from an indie publisher? That's a good question.
What should you expect from an indie publisher, Sam? What
Yes.
should you expect? Well, I'll tell you this. Don't expect anything if you're not willing to do some work. You have to do work. I
Word.
don't think the indie publisher, just being under an indie publisher, is gonna get you all of the, everything you want. And depending on what it is, if you want, your books to sell like crazy, and everybody wants, your books are everywhere and all that other stuff. I think if you're expecting that kind of stuff, I think you're expecting too much.
Too
I
much.
think you got to temper your expectations, because you also have to understand the company you're working with. So you have to, and we talked about this the last time, I think you have to kind of do your homework a little bit and see how much reach that particular publisher has. Who are the distributors they're working with? How many stores are they already in? What is their genre? What do they publish? What do they sell the most of? So you have to do a lot of homework before you go into a publisher, expecting them to get you, notoriety. And all of a sudden you're in every single store all across the country. And you think that they're doing all these things and they have all this money to promote you. And they, and you're doing conventions under their banner at a convention, because they have this big presence in conventions. If you're expecting all of that, I think you have to temper your expectations, and you have to do your research and find out exactly who you're getting in bed with, so to speak. I think that's very important. But
Yes.
yeah, what are your expectations of a publisher, Sam?
I think you get number one. Don't go in full, half-hearted. Ask the questions in the beginning. Know what you're getting into. Exactly what you said. Ask the questions. What's this relationship going to look like? Are you truly going to be acting as my publisher with X, Y, and Z, or are you just going to print and distribute the books? Right? Are you going to be the one that's going to just handle in that part of it, and I have to worry about marketing? So you got to understand what the relationship's going to be, and what you're getting. The days, I mean. There's an episode on Catch the Craze the Crazy Nintendo Less that's coming out this week, and it's like there'll never be another Image revolution, right? Those days are gone, right? That's a one shot deal. The reason why is because there was purpose. There was a purpose behind that union that was formed back then, and so they defined what that looked like. But look at all the copycats that failed, cross generation, who had unlimited. They had a huge bank account, and they ate too much, right? So unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of indies trying to eat more than they can consume, because they want to be the next Image, they want to be the next Marvel, and that's why they over commit and under deliver, right? So if you are just a creator and you want somebody to be able to get your stuff out there, then they're probably going to expect you to go and market your stuff, right? So, and that's where you just got to just understand, what is it that I'm getting into? What's my end of the bargain? Is this a partnership where we're both committing to marketing, or is it something else? I expect to take over World Domination Tour, right? So I think it's just be honest with yourself. Don't go in half-hearted. I mean, we were approached, George and I, before last year, and we asked a lot of questions. And we couldn't get answers, right? We couldn't even get answers that we wanted. So I moved on. I was like, nope. If I'm not feeling good about the information I'm getting, I'm going to move on, right? And that's where you got to be. And if they say, look, I'm only able to do this, I really like your stuff, I can get you distributed, but this is my base. This is where it'll go. This is my extent of my reach, but I'm going to need you to leverage your social media. I'm going to need you to leverage your appearances and whatever it is. And if you agree to that, then don't complain about where you are. What you got to say is these are stepping stones to something bigger down the road, right? So look at it as just a notch in the belt. Everything that you do, everything you commit to, every partnership that you make, it's one step closer to making your dreams a reality. But it's hard work. Everybody knows it. That's why there's so many body bags in the indie community. When you look at how many, and I'm sharing that database on the Craze and 10 lesson, I don't want to give too much away, but there's over 100 body bags of indie comic publishers that came and went because they didn't do their homework. They overcommitted. They overextended themselves, and they were trying to be something that they weren't equipped to be. Right. So start slow. Be honest. Ask the right questions, and be okay with the deal that you got at the time.
I think the image thing, man, going back to you stating that, I think that was just a perfect storm. And I think that they came out at the perfect time. Like there was a market for it. It was the company was filled with talented, popular artists that now wanted to put out their own stuff, and they already had the fan base to buy it. So when Spawn 1 came out, when the Savage Dragon #1 came out, when all those #1s came out,
Wildcats,
people were ready to just buy them. Like they didn't even have to wait. They were just buying them just because it was #1s, because it was Todd McFarlane, because it was Eric Larson,
Jim Lee, Eric Larson, Mark Silvestri.
Because it was those guys. That's why. And there isn't that anymore. Like the industry isn't that. There aren't any more superstars.
And if you've noticed, right, and if you notice, the publishers learned from that. The big publishers, they're not spotlighting their artists anymore. No. They took that and they said, we'll never do that again, because they created monsters, right? So they put their marketing power behind these great talented creators. And what happened was they realized, oh, we're not selling the brand anymore. We're selling these artists. And that's why they left us, and they, in the lurch, right? So I think that you're not going to see that anymore. And there was a purpose. They basically changed the game. And there was something that people were looking for, that change, and they were brave and they were innovative. I guess where Image survived, and something like what is it? What was that company you said? Comics? What is it? Comics? CrossGen. Yes, fucking CrossGen. The reason why they failed too is because there was a businessman behind it, but they didn't know the business of comics. No,
they had a lot of money, but they had no idea how comics worked. Whereas Image, there were these guys who knew exactly how the business worked. And there was a guy amongst them, one of them out of the many that was there, Todd, who had a very good business mind.
The Todd father.
He knew how to run the business of comics. So he wasn't just a great artist or a popular artist at the time. He was also a great business mind who said, you know what? We know what we're going to do here. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's never going to happen again. Not the way that was. Yeah,
it's a one and done.
Not the way that happened. So that publishing company, Image is still around today. Obviously, is considered one of the top 3, right? And it has stayed the way it is. It's an independent publisher for independent, comics, and they continue to do that. Not all publishers are like that. And even Image, bro. Even Image. We talked about this a little bit before. Image won't give you won't make any money from Image until they've recouped everything they've made, because it is a business. And we have some chatter. I think ASAP Imagination has a comment up. It's tough as a publisher. We have to work with our creators to market, then ensure we put in the hours, think outside the box as much as possible, while still knowing our customer crowd. Yes, and that is a lot of what they have to do, right? And so that is, I guess, if for example, Evan Paul, you're watching ASAP Imagination. If somebody signs up with ASAP Imagination, what should they expect? I'll put that out for you, and then you just answer that whenever you want. What can they expect from your indie publishing company, for example? Because I think the expectations have to be based in reality. You can't just go in there thinking, oh man, they're gonna put me on every single billboard, and I'm gonna have ads, and oh, mom, get ready, because my book is gonna be, in your neck of the woods. Your mom lives in, I don't know, Uruguay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not gonna happen like that. Not at our level, not yet.
And not in today's market. not in today's market. I mean, you're
Right, yeah,
fighting.
no,
I mean,
yeah.
and look what's happening. I mean, the game is changing dramatically. Was it the image pulled from Diamond Distributors
Yeah, they're going to
recently, right?
Luna, right?
They're
They're
going
going
to
to Luna?
Luna, right? Right.
Yeah.
So and a lot of people think that the previews is the end all be all. There's other avenues to take. It doesn't start and end with previews. But now here's another thing. Is it good for the industry or is it bad for the industry that Diamond lost another big share, right? Because they can't afford to take on 1,000 inconsistent independents that don't have the marketing budget. They need to make money as well to pay for the printing costs and the staff and all that other stuff. So it's a unique situation that the market is in right now, and crowdfunding has changed the game a lot because people are dependent on crowdfunding. But I think crowdfunding is just a tool. It's a way to help you offset the cost of printing, but you have to go on the streets. You have to hit the payment. You have to go to the LCSs. You have to talk to them. You got to go to the comics cons and talk to the vendors when they're there and say, hey, check out my book. Would you willing to carry it? You got to do all the work that creatives don't want to do. And that's why it's so stressful, because you just want to create. And now you have to negotiate and you have to talk and you have to network and you have to smoosh and you got to do all these things that you don't want to do. And it's time consuming. There's any trends like reels and shorts due to people's attention spans, the old school, pound the pavement. Yeah, I mean that there's a reason why I have an art channel, right? There's a reason why I have all these social media platforms. You have to use everything. But now again, these platforms are a way to get people to notice your work. Doesn't mean they're converting into paying customers. That's a whole different strategy. So the mindset has to be different with everything you do. And you have to study the consumer and study the trends. And you have to you have to be aggressive with it. Because if you put all your eggs in one basket, eventually the basket's going to run dry. And where do you go from there? So you have to try to reach out to as many different outlets as possible.
Yeah, I think as much as we would like to just be creators and not have to worry about doing all of this other stuff, this business side of it, you have to, like, as an independent art, creator, you have to do that. You do. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hobby, and you're just going to be doing it for yourself. And if that's what you want to do, that's cool too. It is what it is. If that's what you want to do, that's awesome. You don't have to go out there and make this thing popular and make it sell and do all this other stuff. You could just be doing it for yourself, and that's cool too. But if you're trying to do something with this, if you're trying to make this a living so that you don't have to do anything else but do what you love, then you have to understand that you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And sometimes doing that means, going to a convention and talking to people when you're an introvert, going on shows like this and talking about who you are and what you do and how much you love to do this when you're not really comfortable doing that. So the indie publisher is not going to do that for you. The indie publisher gives you just another platform and another way to get your stuff out, but you still have to get that stuff out there. You still have to, like you said, if you're going to start an art channel so that people know who you are. Oh, that's Samuel. Oh, he's got a book.
Dude.
Wait, who? Oh, I want to get that book. How do I get that?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I went to Puerto Rico Comic Con and I met 3 people who subscribed to my art channel
Right.
at Puerto Rico who came to the convention to meet me because of my art channel. So there are people that are watching your stuff, and I think and it's just you have to be consistent. You have to produce the content on a regular basis. You have to work on conversion rates. Yeah, how to turn website visitors. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And so I think it's maximize all the tools that you have at your disposal. Talk with the people who are doing it right. Do your homework, and then also separate times. Plan out your week. Separate times for research, R&D. Right? It's like you got to do your homework, and then social media time. How many hours a week are you going to allocate to promoting on social media? How many days or hours a week you're going to go and hit the pavement and go to the stores and, your local library. Go to your local library and do an art demonstration there. They're looking for events to host at the library. And, it might be free, but you know what? You go there, you meet an audience, you have your books there and say, my books are available. You let the librarians know, hey, I'll do it for free, but can I sell my books if they're willing to buy it? Yes, boom, that's it. So you have to think outside the box if you really want to grow. And the only way to do it is the old way. Everyone's so reliant on technology that they forgot the one thing that's going to make the difference is your connection to the other human being and likability. You know, do they like you enough that they want to take an investment in you?
Yeah, and that only makes it easier for, going back to the topic, talking about indie publishers. That kind of legwork makes it easier for your publisher to figure out how they're going to market you, or how they're going to sell your book, because now they know, okay, this guy's willing to do in-store signings, you know, going to libraries. He's willing to do all of that stuff. Excellent. Then let's set him up with something like that. Let me talk to a comic book shop that wants to do that and set something up for my artist. So it just, you got to help each other. You got to help your indie publisher help you. And the only way to do that is to get out there and do that. I do calls, and know from 4 p.m. my time in the UK, and I know the US stores are open. See, so there are things that that your indie publisher will do. I just think you can't expect them to do everything. You have to help.
In today's world, it's you know, today, if it's indie, it's a partnership. If it's mainstream, you create, but you still gotta show up for appearances. You still gotta, you know, even if it's a mainstream publisher, they're gonna publish your stuff, they're gonna distribute your stuff, they'll market your stuff. But you also gotta make sure that you're hitting the streets as well. You gotta do conventions, you know, reach out to podcasts or radio stations and do your homework. So, you know, what are your thoughts on this? You know, put your comments in the comment section. If you like this episode so far, give us a thumbs up. So I think we're at that point where we're going to be bringing in our guest, and we're going to be talking about this bad boy right here, this fantastic piece of literature and art. And so we're going to run to commercial, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to John, publisher of A Kid and a Comic. So...
Are you sitting at home wondering how you're going to spread the word about that Comic-Con that you're about to appear at, and you want to get some press? How about your first book signing? How do you spread the word so you can get an audience there? Or that first panel at a Comic-Con? Who do you talk to? Or even your first crowdfunding on Kickstarter or Indiegogo? The world is turning to podcasting to get the word out. Why not you? Sponsor an episode of Catch the Craze and start promoting yourself today.
Welcome, John.
Hello, gentlemen.
John,
did I get your last name right? Was it?
Go ahead.
Is it Canacry, or is it how do you say?
With your heart.
Canacry?
The second one. They both work.
Canacry. There you go. Canacry. I did say the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tear it up.
Third grade teacher.
Hey, they used to call me Vera, so it's all right. It's Vera. But welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good to meet you, man. How are you? I'm George, man. Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot of great things about what you're putting together, man. A Kid and a Comic, something we didn't even know we needed until it's out, and here it is now, right? So, but I guess you and Sam know each other. I don't know much about you. Just maybe introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us who you are.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I have my alter ego life, my profession, my everything. I'm not by any means a full-time publisher. Wasn't a publisher at all a year ago, but I am a monster comic fan and collector and art enthusiast, and so I know what I like. I'm of the age of nostalgia. We'll put it that way, right? It's the best way to put it. Where I miss the days of Saturday morning cartoons, a bowl of cereal, and pick your poison, right? After school with Thundercats and G.I. Joe and all that stuff. So COVID was a big, awakening. Everybody got bored, right? So comic sales and everything and collecting just went through the roof because people were at home and they had time to go through their collections, and eBay's available, and maybe they had some stimulus money, and it was time to re-spark that interest for most people. Me, it was the artwork. I went into reaching out to artists on Facebook and social media and started asking about, sketches and things like that. So, and then you find out a Jim Lee sketch is something in the neighborhood of, $5,000 for anything a decent size. And you're like, okay, that's not going to work.
Right.
But so my solution to it was this. I started designing posters that are 11 by 17, and they had famous covers all over. As a matter of fact, here we go. I got one right in front of me on my wall. This is what I would design. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Oh, nice.
So they're famous covers of the artist mentioned, and then I would send the poster to the artist. This is John Romita Sr., and they would go ahead and sign and sketch the center. So that's how I started to get to meet people. By the way, I'm at 200 posters right now.
Wow, dude. Holy cow.
So you start making these connections, right?
Who was your first poster, John? Just
My
real-
first
just out of
poster?
curiosity. Yeah,
The
who was
very
it?
first one was Angel Medina.
Oh,
Angel
yes.
Medina.
Yes. He still owes me a piece.
Jesus Christ. I was going to say that.
Yeah, no, we took him to dinner and everything. Oh, that son of a.
Yeah, don't even get me started on the ones that are 2 years out. But so what happened was, we got into COVID and I was collecting books and everything like that. And we got out of COVID and I'm still collecting books. And I had gotten a new shipment of books, went to the LCS and got some books. And one of them was a minor key, or speculated that maybe 10 years down the road, Netflix might buy it. And we thought it'd all be important.
Right.
And I drop it on the corner,
Oof.
out of the bag and board.
Oh.
Right. I said, look at the look on your face. Oh, and I'm cussing, I'm this and that. My wife yells downstairs, "You okay?" She thought I hit my toe or I fell or something. No, I dropped the comic, and she's like, "What?" So I had this aha moment that my 10-year-old self would have slapped me around, tuned me up right there for thinking that's what comics were all about.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, what can we do here, right? We need to do something. So I'm like, what's a format that's not being used, that used to be beloved, that offers a wide variety of styles and inputs? And I don't ever want it to see CBC or CBCS, ever, graded. So we thought newspaper. I'm like, okay, this is a cool idea, but would anybody be interested?
Mm-hmm.
Started reaching out to all these artists that I had made connections with over COVID. And it was a big yes. It was like, well, what's the commitment? Well, first it was going to be 12 strips. And we don't want to put all the eggs in the basket until we knew how successful it would be. How about we do every other month? And everybody loves an annual. So we'll do a holiday annual that's a little bigger, a little badder. Okay. And some, got that first big artist on board. Actually, it was an artist that didn't end up signing on with us. It was Bob Hall. You know Bob? Okay. Great Bronze Age artist. He's widely popular. And he was and he didn't end up being able to do it, but because Bob signed on and I had a few other people, I went to some other artists. Oh, Bob's doing it? Really? I think I can make that work. Let's do that. And then, I got Scott Hanna going and Bill Morrison, who actually lives in Michigan where I live. Bill's a great guy. And he has a monstrous following, right? And then Tony Harris out of the blue said yes. And he's a big deal. And it just started, and Sam got on board, and people I never knew. I started in social media. I'm like, God, I love that guy's stuff. I love what he's already got built. I wonder if this would be a good platform to promote his stuff and get it out there to a new audience, right? Because if you think about it, comics are comics, and we have comic people, but newspaper that can kind of transcend comics and be a delivery method to people who aren't comic book collectors, but they just used to love the Sunday funnies or love that type of thing.
Yeah. Right. So John, I mean, and it's interesting how you went about the process. So you have, obviously, the no-brainers are the big names, right? That's no-brainers.
Yeah.
Let's get some of these big names in there. When you went after, but when you started contacting the guys who don't have the notoriety, for example, like a Sam or even a buddy of mine, J.M. DeSantis, I know he's in the newspaper with you guys as well. What made you choose those guys? What made you reach out to them? What was it about what you saw in their artwork or in the comics that you said, you know what, this would be a perfect fit with these other names? Because that's a great, that is an amazing accomplishment, and I congratulate Sam for being able to do this with you. But what was it? What was it that made you say, yeah, you know what, I like that?
So I wanted a good mix, right? So this has been, I would say the biggest struggle is to find our target audience, because to me, we are our target audience, but the format very much looks like a 5-year-old should be reading it. So really it's middle school and above. So I wanted a really diverse number of artists in style and content. That's why we put the horror section in the middle. That offers a black and white touch. But we made sure it wasn't gore, you know what I mean? So that it was still suitable. So when I'm going to somebody like Len Danovich, and he goes, I got this great writer, Jam DeSantis, right? Because Jam's doing the writing on Len's stuff. I know he's a great artist in and of himself.
Yeah.
And then you start a conversation with somebody, you see where their head's at in the process, you ask for a couple of samples, and I think it was within a week, JM sent me the entire script for all 7 episodes. And it was really cool because the font that it was like the old typewriter font on the thing. And I was like, this guy, he gets it. He already gets it.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this and it's, hey, it's time for dinner. No, I'm not done yet. I'm still reading, this is,
that's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah.
So if the kid in me says this is cool, then somebody else has got to be the same way, right? I'm not,
right. Yeah.
I'm not hooking up my buddies.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
Of the 30 people, I probably talked to 300 people, 350 people, plenty of big names told me to get bent and it wouldn't work.
Wow.
I'm smiling a little bit now.
So the news, and I know, and you went through your whole mind, the process of your mindset behind, okay, make it a newspaper, but, and sure, like you said, people said no to you about, hey, that's not going to work. What made you so sure that it was going to work? Why newspapers? What was it about? Why did you say, yes, no, this is going to work? And it does, but why did you commit to that?
Okay. So I had to, you have to be smart business wise, right? You have to have a formula that's insulated, maybe is the best word. And so I'm offering a format that isn't a heavy lift for artists, because deadlines are a problem. So I looked at it from the artist standpoint. I wanted this to be more about the creators. So because this isn't going to be my full-time job, this is something I love doing. And so what are the big obstacles for creators? Deadlines. Okay. If I'm taking a lot of time, they're going to want a lot of money. Okay. Or money in general, right? Doing it for the right reasons. We've got some of our profits going towards the Hero Initiative and towards the Inkwell Award Scholarship. Okay. So I thought if we go with and I listened to people too, like I said, we wanted to start off with 12. So now we go down to 6, and I'm like, 6 isn't enough. We need 1. We need something, because I wanted to go back to what was special about comics growing up. And I'm like, we're going to add a holiday annual. We're going to put the December issue in there. It's going to be a few more pages, going to spruce it up. We're going to have some fun with it. And everybody I talk to, like, that's the sweet spot, right? I can do 7. It's not a heavy lift for me. It gives me the promotion I need, and I don't have to put unnecessary funds at risk. Because look, if I'm talking about, the dream team, I'm calling Wheezy and Walt Simonson, and Bill Sienkiewicz is on the line, and everybody else, and I got a third mortgage. No, it's not happening. So the other thing is too, I found a printer that can scale up the cost of printing based on the number of issues printed. Right? There wasn't a heavy minimum there, and promotion. I didn't kickstart. I didn't do anything like that. When you have this many creators together, promotion starts to take care of itself. All these guys are at cons. All these guys are going out. They all have a stack of papers. I make sure they have a little placard, something that's not going to overtake their desk, but something. I try to give them the tools that are necessary, because this thing is really starting to, it's a slow build and swell, and out of nowhere, people, are calling me. We just shipped out an issue to Japan. In London, and so it's kind of cool. But that having something that's insulated, something that you don't have to, like, okay, we're gonna print 10,000 issues of the first one, and we're gonna rock and roll, and then they don't all sell, and you can't afford to print issue number 2.
Right.
You know, you gotta be a little smart about it.
Yeah. As far as the content goes, John, did you just listen to pitches of what they wanted to put in the thing, or did they already have stories? I know Sam does. Did they already have stories that you were like, no, I want that in the book. That's what I want. Like not anything new you're doing. I kind of want that. Like, was that kind of like where it went, or were you guys just leaving it open for them?
Well, I can tell you who. So yeah, it's about half and half, really. People like Glenn Whitmore, who's a fantastic colorer for DC. He was on Spider-Man on Superman with George Perez for a while, and Justice League. So I mean, he's got something called Captain Clockwork that he's been doing for a few years now, and it's a fantastic story. And I followed it, so I followed enough to say, look, what do you think about in comic book form? And he's like, I can make that work. And then there's other people, Darren Auk, who I can't say enough about. He's my associate editor. He's the former head of the Marvel art department. He signed on to help me edit. And he's got all these great ideas. And he's like, I got this one, but I don't know. And he started sketching things up, and it's 2 a.m. and I'm getting a text with a picture of a sketch on a notebook. He's like, what do you think of this guy right here? And so some of the people's process was like that. It's like, yeah, I love that, but maybe tweak this a little bit, and half and half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sounds like fun, man. Sounds like you're having a blast doing this thing.
Dude, come on. I mean, really, this is work?
Yeah, right?
I don't know if I got my wife in here. She'd say the same thing.
Oh, that's amazing, dude. That's amazing. Sam, did you have anything to
So given the fact that the industry has changed dramatically, and when we saw like a huge reduction in comic strip newspapers, your approach to communicating it, how much thought did you give about communicating it out to the masses?
Okay, so here's the goal. Newspaper, everybody says newspapers are dead. That's true, but the nostalgia of the good things about any medium are never dead.
Right.
Okay. Nobody wants a newspaper because the news sucks, right? It's easy just to go on the next website, or go on your phone and just ignore it, right? But nobody's going to spend money on bad news, because that's right. But they still miss some things. So the goal is to get in the newspaper distribution as opposed to the comic book distribution. Our fans, our subscriptions, our people, in comic stores will always be a bread and butter. But how about if we get in Barnes and Noble? How about if we are in every airport that you go to? What's better in a 4-hour flight than grabbing a copy of A Kid in a Comic, filling out the crosswords, reading a few comics?
Yeah.
You gotta.
That's a commercial right there.
A little bigger, because the format can support a little bigger. If you've got one comic book with one story in it, it may be the best story ever, right? But they're not all that way. Right. And if you didn't know the story before, maybe it doesn't work if you're just somebody picking it up. This is something you can pick up. And most of the stories, if I go ahead and I read Duty, right? I don't have to know exactly. The little tagline on the bottom tells me everything I need to know to go into that episode, read that story, fully enjoy it, laugh, enjoy the art, and back out. And I can do that with 27 other strips and be enjoyed. If I don't like 2 or 3 of them, okay, go on to the next one.
Right.
You can't do that with a single comic book.
Yeah. And that's what I loved about, the Sunday Funnies, because you had a whole slew of comic strips to choose from, and I went directly to the ones I gravitated to, like Beetle Bailey and Garfield, and and then when I was done with that, then I moved on to the other ones that because I wanted to make sure I consumed all of it, but I went to my favorites first, right? Yeah. And I think that's what's great about it. I think that's what's exciting about it. So, since since you launched it, what has the reception been like?
It's been great. So the subscriptions is a slow burn, right? It starts, it's building, and then all of a sudden, because I always look, I'm like, okay, is this a friend of somebody? And then I'm like, Iowa. I got nobody in Iowa, right? And, like the one in Japan, the one in, guys reaching out to me in Manchester, England. So the cool thing is it's trending straight up as far as subscriptions. And then the big boom really is comic shops. Hey, I'll take 10, I'll take 20. Riley Brown, another fantastic artist, and his son Will are going to be at a signing this Saturday. And, there's 40 copies right there. And they're signing and sketching and doing all that. And, and Comic Con season is upon us, where people are taking copies of these. And so the artists are grabbing copies. We tried to make it affordable where they can actually make money on these things. They're, they're not just doing it, Look, promotion's great, but if it doesn't make dollars, sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. What so you're saying there's about 28 or 29 comic strips in the newspaper? What is the how many comics have we got?
So we've got right now we've got about 26 different strips. Okay. Wow. Not all of them are. We've got some single panels. We've got some 3 panels. We've got a lot of different stuff going on there. And I should say content in general, because I have a whole 3/4 of a page dedicated to a coloring page by Mark McKenna, who's a longtime Marvel inker, fantastic guy. And he got some art to us, and you've got it right in front of you there.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Right? Yeah, there's some fantastic stuff.
Yeah.
So that whole page is. I still believe that the kid in all of us likes the puzzles, likes the word scrambles, likes some of the coloring page. And we make sure we put, if you look there, we got a whole page dedicated to a QR code for every single artist in the paper. So I could have filled that up with advertisement and made some money, but the artists need to be successful.
Look at that guy.
Paper isn't successful.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
One of the reasons why I was excited about this, because every Duty comic book has activities and puzzles in the back of every comic book, and so I was like, oh, this is it's the universe saying, hey, this is a perfect match, and that's why I was excited about this. And every episode of my art channel, I'm promoting the kid in the comic. It's just fantastic. I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I think. My gut tells me it's going to take off. I think it's, and then every time I see somebody else promoting it on social media, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's, I think it takes the one person for it to be a boom, but the great thing is we've gotten to the point where we could very well see a lull, but we haven't, right? We're past issue 1, we're past the big reveal and everything, and we're still getting orders, and people are still calling for refills, and cool. Doing all that. We just got invited to our first Comic-Con out of nowhere in Pennsylvania, a small Comic-Con. It's like a hometown one. They still have gas lamps in the streets. It's really cool.
Wow.
They're doing a whole county fair and a comic convention out of the whole town. And they're like, we'd like you to come. And yeah, by the way, we want a couple thousand issues.
Wow. Nice. When is that, John? Can you say when that is? Or?
August 11th and 12th. It's a Wellsboro Comic-Con in Wellsboro, Pennsylvania.
That's awesome.
We did a variant cover for them. I know, variant cover, right? So we moved some around. We put their logo on there, and we did some really cool.
That's awesome, dude.
Really cool things. So if people are coming to you, we must be doing something right.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, dude. So if
you guys want to see, what would you love to see in something like this? From a content standpoint, what do you love as a kid that it's missing?
It's funny. I just did an episode on my art channel about, I don't know if you remember, G.I. Joe had, if you subscribe to G.I. Joe, you get the magazine. And in the magazine, it was similar, right? It had puzzles, it had activities, it had all these things. I think from what I've seen so far, you have quite a bit of content, but maybe I think the only thing I would say as for those aspiring artists or whatever, maybe a how to draw little section of how to draw for the kids.
It's in there. It's in there.
I didn't see it.
Come on,
what page?
Sam, you have the actual
what page?
Thing? Are you serious?
I seen the puzzles.
Now listen. Now let's. I'm gonna be.
I like the arcade match.
I don't. Yeah. Now he's trying to butter you up, John. He's trying to kiss.
Where? What page?
I don't know. Maybe page 12.
Maybe right. Page 12, bottom right. Damn, he knows
bottom right. That's a page.
Woo!
I don't.
Hey John, so listen, I haven't had a chance to get my hands on one yet. So how does one subscribe to one, and how much do they cost? That's what I wanted to find out for the people watching.
Okay, well, for you know a guy, but oh, look at that! That is me and the shortstop from the Detroit Tigers, as a kid reading a comic book.
Oh, damn! Wow,
Yeah.
look at that.
So it's really simple. You go to akidindacomic.com. That's all one word. All right. You can see it right there on the top. You can subscribe. It'll send you to a login page. Subscription's pretty reasonable. It's $39 for an entire year. Shipping is $14.99, and that covers the whole year. Okay. I'm not going to charge you every time you ship. So a little over $50. 7 issues. It's a lot more content than a single comic book in comparison. And for a subscription, you save money over the newsstand price, which is $7.99 a book. Okay, so it's cheaper per book.
Yeah. That looks nice.
It's we welcome you to ask your local LCS to carry it. All the ones that we've sent to have done very well. And because it's every 2 months and it's not dated, it can last. It's got a little more shelf life than your average comic does. It can last the span of the time. So that's a nice appeal to comic shops as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. You asked what would I want to see in this, and I don't know if you guys have this yet, but I think as a little kid, and I think every little kid likes to draw, right?
Wait a minute. You're not getting off the hook.
Oh,
I found it.
Oh,
it is one bad mamma jamma, Glenn.
I found it.
Of his how-to tutorial there.
Yes, it's Captain Clockwork.
What are we doing here?
I was reading the comic strips. I didn't see it as a comic strip, so I didn't read it.
You know what? You might be on the hook for issue 2 on a how to draw duty. I mean, you may have just voluntold yourself.
Oh man, shit! You don't have to ask me twice.
I think that's what he was. I think that's what he was getting at. I think that's what he was going. It kind of worked. It kind of worked in his favor.
I got an idea.
I had to use Yoda.
He made it seem like it was your idea. Yeah, exactly. No, but what I was saying is, I think because because kids love to draw. Like even how to is awesome, and I think you guys doing a great job with that. But even if there was a way to get their drawings on the newspaper, where if they drew a character that they liked and submitted it to you guys, they would be able to then have their drawings published in your newspaper, as part of maybe a contest or whatever you wanted to do. I know that I used to love those as a kid. Was just a drawing contest where if you won, you got the
question and answer section there, right? So why don't we move a couple things around and squeeze in a a fan piece section, Why don't we add
something like that? Yeah,
like a fan art section.
Yeah.
We're figuring stuff out right here. I got it.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, that's the stuff. That's the reason why I subscribe to the G.I. Joe magazines. That's the reason I used to love, even the Widget magazines, the drawing sections, the how-to sections with I have every issue of Widget magazine ever printed. So I collected them religion. I collected Sketch magazine. If anybody who remembers Sketch magazine, I still have every issue.
You were a fanzine guy, weren't you?
Yeah, man, I loved it. Yeah, the content. That's why I love this, because it's one of those things. Number one, you have it forever. If you're a collector, it's not just something you read at the moment, something that you have. When I want inspiration, I go back to I'm digging in the crates, and I go back to the archives and I pull out something, and this is what this represents. There's something that you can have and you can go back to, and it's great to over coffee, sitting in the yard, whatever it is.
Yep, travels well.
Yeah, it does, man.
You're not gonna find a bag and a board big enough, so don't even try.
No, but mine is framed on the wall up there. So
I know. You know what? You've got me inspired to do. Remember, I told you about the comic posters?
Yes.
Take a look at this. So that's my Neil Adams. That's my Hannah.
Wow.
I've got my Kirby. My original Joe Simon.
That's fantastic.
Holy.
And then there's the other wall.
Wow.
That's nice.
So you've inspired me to move around a few things and maybe
That's awesome, dude.
Frame issue 1.
Yeah, I had to. I was like, you know what? I have the cover, and then I have the comic strip right below it.
Yeah.
In fact, let me
get all those guys. Get all those guys to sign it for you, John.
Man, that's nice.
Pardon me?
get all those guys to sign it for you and just hang it up, man. That'll be nice.
That would be pretty cool.
That would be nice. Dude.
I would love to say I've only met a couple of our, with the world of this.
Yeah.
To meet everybody would be really, really cool. I would love to. A 2024 San Diego Comic invite would be with a large panel of all our boys in there and girls.
That would be good. That would be amazing. Dude. That would be amazing.
I'll be packing my car and driving. Like, come on there, let's go,
bro. If we get there, there'll be tickets handed out. If we get to that point,
that'd be awesome.
Right. Oh, dude, this looks amazing, man. So issue 1 is out now. Yep. So issue 2 will be out when?
So I shipped issue 1. I was excited. I got it out to everybody. Issue 1's the June-July issue. Okay. Issue 2, I'll ship in July.
Gotcha.
Nice. Artists and deadlines.
Yeah. Well, my
is that really a suggestion to you guys? I gotta ask. I'm not an artist, right? I'm a creative thinker, but I'm still, I work in nice little neat boxes and stuff like that. It's like, hey, everything is due here. Oh, cool. That's cute. Is that what a deadline looks like in your head? No, you're excellent.
No, what I was gonna say, yeah. So it's funny because I was like, I went back to it. I said, when am I supposed to have the other 2 strips? I was like, oh yeah. So Thursday you'll have the 4th one. Yeah. So as I try to balance my time,
I get it.
Yeah. But it's exciting. So long game. What's the long game vision for a kid in the comic?
So I would like to. My long game is to get everybody, the smaller guys on our paper, to get signed by one of the big 3s. I want them to see some of that content and go, yeah, that needs to be one of ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's and I didn't mention, and this, Sam. Rarely do you get somebody to publish your stuff, and we don't maintain any rights.
Right.
We give you a contract that, and that's probably. Would you say that's fair? That's part of the appeal is being an artist on this.
Yeah.
We get some stuff, you get the promotion, you keep all the rights. So any type of publication rights or anything of that nature is a single publication usage. So I want our people to get out there and be successful. I want to have some regulars, but I want a rotation of people. I want the ones who want to stay, and I want the ones who are going to move on to bigger and better things to move on, and then give the next guy a shot or bring another big guy in. I want it to be a nice home, but don't get comfortable because I want it, to be fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think what you're doing is fantastic. And I think this is just the beginning of what the potential is. And I mean, you brought up the idea of newspaper distribution. Have you started communicating to newspaper distributors?
Yep, already been in communication. I mentioned Barnes & Noble. We've talked with them. Everybody right now really is interested in proof of concept, right? Like, oh, hey, that sounds great. Let's see,
Yeah.
Then I have to. The biggest trick too is editorial content, right? Some people it's a weird world as far as content goes when you're trying to go that mainstream, right? Some people are sensitive to some things. Some people, I don't want to step on creators' toes, and I want to still be appealing to the big stage. So, we haven't run into too many issues with that, but it's a balancing job. I think talking to and learning from some of the big guys. I don't want to mention one of them, but it's a big company. They liked a lot of it, and then there's a couple things like it's kind of red flag. That's kind of red flag. Have to put what do they call it, like a
disclaimer
on it. Trying to avoid a disclaimer. In content. So that's the goal. We're getting noticed, put it that way. People know we're around at least.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And John, that's not bad.
If somebody wanted to submit, if somebody wanted to submit something to the paper for publishing, how would they do that? Would they go to the website and do that? Are you open to submissions yet or no?
So there is a contact email on the website. I also have another email I can give out very easily. So you can go to the contact us on the email on the site, and what it does, it gives you not only a contact form to put in there, but there's another email listed as well, but go ahead and send it to akidindacomic@gmail.com as well. That's our personal business site that we just work at separately. So we keep all business traffic on the site and personal traffic for that stuff there.
Sweet.
I've had a lot of conversations with people who are ready for next year. If you know, if we need them, I'm very happy with who we have, and we may just get bigger. This started out as an 8-page paper. We're at 16 now.
Wow.
So I'm not going to get rid of good people or people who still want to be here that are doing well. We'll just get bigger.
Yeah. Good job, man. Good
Outstanding.
Good.
So we're at that point where we're going to give you the screen and, deliver the pitch. Kid in the Comic, why everyone should have it in their collection, and then how, if they want to reach out to you, where are you on social media? So this is all yours.
All right. Why should you own a Kid in the Comic? It's really simple. Because you work all day, because you clean the house, because you do the laundry, because you do all the stuff that life is making you do. Now it's time for you to do something that you like to do as a kid. Laugh, whether it's a silly comic, get a little scared. If it's a scary comic, enjoy it. Don't have to worry about collecting it. You can take it to the bathroom with you. Wash your hands, please. You can give it to your kid. Read it first. Make sure you think everything's appropriate. And just not stress about all the nonsense. This is no nonsense. Okay? Go to www.akidinacomic.com. All right? Also follow us at A Kid in a Comic on Instagram. And we have a Facebook page as well under the same name. It's an easy subscription. You can buy a single issue. You can buy a year subscription. You can go to your local comic shop and say, "What are you, stupid? Why don't you have this?" Right? First one to get us in Mile High Comics or get us in the biggest comic shop in New York gets a free subscription. How's that?
There you go.
Outstanding.
Right? Which one of you two are calling them right now?
I know. I know. We used to have a hookup with Midtown Comics. It's been a long
Comics.
time.
Hey, man, that's an easy. Just step it in and say,
Mile
"Hey,
High
guys."
Comics is still a thing. The one where they used to have the ad in every.
Yeah, was that? That was in Denver, right?
Denver. Yeah.
Colorado.
Or Boulder or something.
Yeah. I don't know if they're still around. They were huge.
They're still around. I just saw a YouTube video
okay.
because they bought like.
You ever look at some of the prices on those comics for sale now?
No.
You know what I'm talking about, right? They have a whole ad in every page of used comics for sale, like an Avengers number 6 for $10.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fascinating. I was watching some documentaries on Mile High, and it's just fantastic. But thanks, John, for coming on. You're always welcome back, and and I'm looking forward to getting some of the other talent on the project onto the show as well.
Yeah, if you ever want to get a bunch of us on, I'll put the word out, and it'd be fun.
Absolutely, awesome. Yeah. Let's set it up. And let's get that going. And again, thanks again for coming on the show. Again, the links in the chat, the links in the summary, guys. Go check out akidindacomic.com. It is fantastic. So
George,
again,
pleasure meeting you, Sam. As always.
You got it, buddy.
You take care, guys.
You got it. Peace.
Bye.
Later, John.
So there it is, man. Breakthrough, innovation, nostalgic, all the good things, guys. So you wanted the story. We brought you the story, the man behind the story. Check out A Kid in the Comic. I'm excited to be a part of this project. And it's another way, I like it because number one, it's a really diverse group of stories and artists that are working on this project, but also it's another way to get duty into hands of readers that might not have picked up a comic book and that are really digging the newspaper. And I know when I got it and I opened up the mail, my wife was so excited. I said I got to frame this right now. The first one I just went, it's going straight up on my wall. But it's a fantastic project and I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I love it, man. Everything starts with an idea, and you just have to make it happen, man. Got to make it happen. That's all it's all about. So, congratulations, to John and Kid in a Comic. And the second issue comes out. He's sending it out in July. The first one's already out. So if you guys can go to kidinacomic.com, make sure you subscribe. It's $39.99 for the year plus shipping and handling, and that gives you 7 issues of the newspaper. delivered to your house.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lou, very cool, very cool. So make sure you guys check that out. And subscribe to the newspaper.
Yeah. I mean, you got stories like Dodge and Hustle. You have Captain Clockwork. You got Sour Grapes, which looks very fun.
Great.
I think this is funny. How to use a frog properly. I think that's really fun. It's a Tarzan and the frogs are hanging by their tongues. I think that's pretty funny.
Nice.
You got war stories. So you have a really diverse. You have something for everybody. That's what I like about this. Is something for everybody. You want young. You want funny. You want comedy. You want horror. You want drama. You want action. It's all rolled up into one. It's like going to like a triple feature at the movie theater, right? It's like I remember when I was a kid, I went to the movies with my mom. I wasn't a kid, I was a teenager. The only time I went to the movies with my mom that I can remember, and it was my mom and my best friend, and we went to go see Predator. And then while we were there, we were so excited about seeing Predator that we went to see Full Metal Jacket right after, same day. We just went to the next one. And that's what like Kid of the Comic is, right? You go from one adventure to the next, right? And it's once you start an adventure, you don't want to stop until you get to the next one. So I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, man. So yeah, but again, Paul ASAP Imagination, thank you for joining us tonight. Paul Gomez, Aurelius, Lou, Creators Outlet. Thank you everybody for watching, and all of you on Facebook that's been giving us a thumbs up. Thank you all for watching in silence. But again, if you like the show, please don't forget to subscribe. Again, thank you to everyone who subscribed recently. This channel was made specifically to grow the indie community and give independents out there a voice. And so more eyes on us, that means more eyes on our guests, and like the guest we had on tonight, John. And that's basically why we do it. It's just to get the word out. And thank you for getting us past, I don't even know where we are on subscribers, but it seems like almost every day we get a new subscriber. So thank you for joining us and giving us a chance, helping us break through. And everybody who's been subscribing to the art channel, I'm like 10 away from 1,000 on the art channel. So thank you all for subscribing there as well. And don't forget, if you're here in August, join me in Denton Comic Art Expo. And then the week after, I'll be at Collected Comics doing a book signing with my buddy Paul Gomez. And then in September, College Station Comic Con, and then we'll see what happens from that, and the Kickstarter's in production. So you guys will get that soon. And issue number 6 will be launching in October. So I'm taking the summer off to get some much needed R&R and give everybody some time to do their thing, and then come back in the fall just in time for the holidays with issue number 6 of Disney Under My Toilet.
Yes, indeed, guys. And make sure you check out getyourmeds.com if you haven't done so yet. Also, check out GIG, globalindiegroup.com, for those who are interested in creating. You have a comic book that you want to create, don't know how to go about it. Join GIG, subscribe. And if you subscribe today and type in CDC50 at sign up, you get 50% off a subscription. So make sure you go check out globalindiegroup.com. Check that out today. But yeah, man. And I don't know. I'm not sure what you're doing next week, because I know your schedule's been a little crazy. So I don't know if we have anybody here next week. But
yeah, we do.
Next week. Cool. So we'll be back next week, Tuesday.
Yeah. Next week. I'll tell you right now who we got. Next Tuesday, we have next Tuesday's what? The 6th. We have Alex Mello. Alex Mello. He's an artist. That is not, and I don't see a Kickstarter, but his name is Alex Mello. He's an artist, and he'll be on the show. So we're looking forward to that. And also, if you're watching this and you've been trying to get through to get on the show because you have a Kickstarter, unfortunately, we're booked in advance. And so I'm getting more requests than I can keep up with, because we're booked. So if you don't find any openings on the calendar, it's because you didn't plan 3 months in advance. But come September 1st, I'm switching gears. I'm going strictly to just interviews on creators and not really Kickstarter promotions. It's really going to be about the stories. We want to really get into the heart of the people behind the stories. So I'm shifting gears in September. We're not going to be doing promotions. We're just going to be doing interviews. And so if you're trying to get your Kickstarter promoted, we're really There's plenty of other spaces out there that'll give you that support. We want you on our show. We want to interview you, talk about your story, your passions, what influences you, all that stuff, your journey. But there's other platforms where you can promote your Kickstarter. And if you're still adamant about promoting your Kickstarter, you can buy a sponsorship on Catch the Craze to promote it through a commercial. But we're starting September 1st. All shows will be interview based. And thank you everybody out there for understanding. With that said, I am Sam the Crazy Man Vera,
George the Dreamer Medina, peace.
and we are out.
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
He described me. He said, "I'm the."
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.